All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you had a wonderful New Year's. The watch list is officially back, and man, oh man, we have a lot to talk about. So I'm sure you saw how the whole year played out. Hopefully things are a little bit different this year, but I got to go over some of the top trends and what to be watching for. And here's the best part. If you were on stream over the last couple of weeks, you know what I'm getting hyped on. We have a crazy macroeconomic schedule ahead of us, and it's kicking off right at Wednesday. So I got the breakdown for you. I got the plays, what we're looking at this year, as well as what we got to do over the next 2 weeks here. And now that it's Sunday or Monday, or no, today's Monday. Okay, but either way, man, the random account generator is back. So ladies and gentlemen, you know what you need to be doing right now. I need you to post a random option trade. Keep it below $100. Post the strike price, expiration date, all of that. And we are going to pick a play randomly in the morning before we start streaming. But I mean, take a look over the years. We started this account in 2020, and then it hit, and then it came down, then it went back up. And I mean, we are kind of at a nice middle. So we started this with $500. We have never added to it. It looks like we're coming in just below 3,000. So Chad, let's start it off with a bang here, right? Okay, yeah, but I have all of that for you, Chad. I think it's going to be a fun time, and I'm telling you, this year, if you've already got to make it through 2022, you are going to be prepared, but man, I am sure we are about to kick it off with a bang, so run it, baby.
Walking to the couch, it's the 2020 election. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a little, but I still reinvest it. Feel how I feel, then you feel like it's a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down.
But right off the bat, like I told you, we are starting off this year with a bang. I was so excited because I'm telling you, nonstop for the next about 2 or 3 weeks, you are just going to be getting a bunch of macroeconomic data. Now, I want you to go think back around Thanksgiving time because that's where it started to heat up, and then after the holidays, things kind of chilled out. So I want you to go between like September, October-ish. It's going to be that level of volatility with data. Now, it doesn't mean that we have to go down, and there's a lot of things people are talking about, but I want you to understand what the main things are going to be, and it starts here on Wednesday. So not tomorrow, the day after, but we will be getting the minutes from the Fed. And now why this is important, because this was the last time the Fed was speaking. Can we zoom in a little bit? Yeah, so pretty much we've been dumping since Jerome Powell. We're like at this 50-50 point where we bounced up from those October lows. So why this is going to be key, we're going to hear some of the logic with what Powell said. And if you don't remember what happened on that last Fed meeting, Powell, he came in like dovish and hawkish. It wasn't the same thing, but the terminal rate in the summary of economic projections, that was higher than expected. So any more insight into that, it could very well move the market. So beyond just getting that on Wednesday, we're going to wake up with job openings. And then on Friday, this is what I'm saying, look how crazy this is going to be. On Friday, you are going to be getting the CPI. So there's nothing that we're going to be waiting for. No. Why does that say CPI? It's supposed to say non-farm. I said CPI. No, it's non-farms on Friday and then the CPI after that. Actually, I mean, I think it might just be better to show you this here, and I don't have the week after up, but even beyond what I just listed, I'm telling you, there's going to be a bunch of data. Tomorrow, you're going to be getting PMIs, then you're going to get JOLTS jobs openings, the Fed minutes, the ISM employment, trade balance, ADP employment change, continuing claim, global PMIs, then the non-farms and the ISM, factory orders, and then next week after that, we are going to get the CPI, and then I think you burn 1 week, and then it's going to be Jerome Powell. So that is what we're going to be dealing with. So regardless of the big factors you need to be watching in 2023, we are going to have a lot that could move us over here in the next couple of days. And don't forget, you are also going to start seeing earnings season kick off. So that is your first key coming into your second key now. I think the money is going to start coming back, and we should have a very exciting January. But now I don't want your hopes to get too high simply because this is going to be a short week. And just like those September, October days, even with the holidays or the short weeks, you should remember when there's big data, sometimes the market won't move too much leading into that. So that's what I want to keep in mind, is that, well, maybe everyone's just going to wait for the data and the market and liquidity is going to kind of move in bursts. It definitely can start off very strong and just be crazy all over the place because it is a new year, but watch for the data and use that for your timeline to kind of understand how we will be moving here. But the point is, don't get trapped. Don't go too early. We even had a little talk on averaging down and all of that. We're going to go over the plays that I'm holding in all of those, but a lot of the times, and a big thing I've been saying is that I've been using these events to make my moves. So keep the schedule in mind, because when these data movements hit, you know very well, especially with the beginning of the year, we will get big moves on those days. So that is your second key. And now your final key, I want to come back to this because I want to see how this one ages over the months, because guess what? Nobody knows what's going to happen, but here is just a little list of the trends or what I think will be important this year. And obviously the first one is going to be inflation coming down, but more so the macroeconomic data. We talked about this towards the end of the year. Even that's why the Fed minutes this week will be so important, because Powell was kind of acting like he already expected inflation to come down. It's not as if that would be too far off to say, but this year, as inflation comes down, we want to watch how the markets react. And then what's the next piece of data they jump to? A theory that I have in mind is that simply as inflation starts coming down, you'll get a little bit of a reaction, maybe not as big as you think, and then everybody, even the Fed, is going to jump to another data set to hyperfixate on, and that will drive a lot of the volatility. But overall, the macro data, and especially inflation, I really think this will be the most important catalyst or trend for this year. And now coming into the second one, you've heard me talk about it a lot this year, and I think it's just going to hold even more importance, and I would even argue this could end up being more important than anything inflation related, and we'll see how the data comes in mind. But any currency moves and pivots by central banks. I mean, I hope you know the currency that is in mind right now, the yen. That is going to be big. You saw what happened with the holidays with Japan. All of that has not been situated just yet, so we want to watch that. But all these currencies around the world, especially even China, the Chinese yuan at 7, that is another important one. And then now pivots by both the Fed all the way down to the ECB or the Bank of Japan. These will be bigger drivers of equities, liquidity, and almost everything around the world. You know, one thing I'd want to say we should be watching for 2023, do the bonds in the stock market have a positive or negative correlation, and do we watch them get sold off again? That was absolutely huge in 2022. So this is something I really, really want to be watching. And now the next thing, these next two are things we haven't seen yet, and this is why I thought it would be very important to include this here as we move through this year. But defaults in unemployment. You've heard people talking about it. You've seen a couple of defaults here and there in the crypto space, and I think this applies to it as well. But we want to see, does anybody go bust? When does unemployment go up? Do we actually start to see some of the events that you don't really want to see? And this is where I think it could start to make its way here. If it doesn't happen in the first half of this year, this is definitely what we will be watching for the second half of 2023. And then earnings, I mean, just don't forget, it's already had its space in terms of market and importance last year. Don't forget, it started with the Snapchat and then the tech stocks, and then it started leading into other things. But we really want to see how do earnings play out, and do you finally get a Grim Reaper, or do the earnings start to highlight a lot of the fear that has been talked about over the last year? That is definitely something we want to be watching for. And then finally, this one took a lot of importance last year. I'm putting it towards the end of the list, and it doesn't mean it's not important, but we really want to see how commodities respond both to economic activity. Is there any signs of real demand destruction? Is that why they're going down? And then also, how do commodities respond to monetary policy? So that's why we're saying watch for pivots by the central bank and what monetary policy actually does. But one thing we want to see, is there an effect on what it should affect? AKA, if rates do get cut at any point, is oil and energy going to go up? Gold should go up. Is that going to happen? What's it even going to do to crypto and everything else? But this is definitely going to be a trend you should keep your eyes on for this next year. So this is the first trading day we're getting into. This is the first watch list of the year. This could all change, and that's kind of been the nature of what we had in 2022, but we will see what happens. We know what we got to be watching for, and thankfully, we got a lot of data on the way. But let us get into the plays. So, right off the bat, don't get mad at me, man. But I'm starting off the first play of the year with an Ethereum, and I'm still holding it to the downside. So, why I'm bringing this up as the first play, there was more drama over the weekend brewing in the crypto space. The Winklevoss sent a letter to Barry Silber, the owner of GBTC and Digital Currency Group, and all of that. So, there's more drama, but one thing I've been bringing up, I was like, dude, it's only been about like 47 days since everything got really clapped with FTX and all of that, and we don't know what's going to happen. And 2022 was a very awful year for crypto, but I don't think a change of the calendar is going to stop that carnage. So this is something I really, really want to watch for. It's kind of like a slow-moving boat, but I think even coming into this year, even with this week, even as we get data, I mean, we see how crypto responds to it. I'm definitely going to be keeping my eyes on this, and like I said, I am already holding a short Ethereum /ETH. That is a short on Ethereum futures, and I think I have till about March, so we will see. But that is play number one. Then play number two. What a better way to start off the year with Tesla. It makes me cry now. No, but Tesla, their delivery numbers came in over the weekend. They were just under expectations. They're still showing a decent growth rate with that 50%, but I want to see how the stock treats the new year at a new low, a.k.a. Tesla's carnage over the last couple of months, specifically the last month, was awful. You got this data. I want to see how it factors in, and especially with all of the earnings and everything else around the corner, let's see what happens. And was Tesla just because of tax losses? Was it because people don't like Elon? Was it because of the numbers? How are they going to react to the numbers? There's a lot of questions, and I want to see how Tesla kicks off the new year, but that is going to be play number two. And then finally, play number three, baby. Caterpillar and XLU. Now, this one's for tomorrow, but I would argue these are going to be the plays for the month, and not in like a TLT sense, but what we really need to be watching for the next 30 days here is industrials and defensives. They are still important, and we want to watch the trend that they start off to set this year. Do people flock to it and treat it like commodities, wheat, food, and all the energy stocks last year? That's pretty much what I want you to think about. If you remember, we got off to an early start talking about energy, wheat, agriculture, both gold, silver, copper, all of that last year. It went crazy throughout the first half of the year, but you'll notice there was like a mad dash to it in the beginning of the year, and that is what I want to keep in mind with these names, because XLU, XLV, some of these defensive ones, even go look at Caterpillar stock as an industrial. They have been absolutely killing it, and we want to see, do people start piling into this? This will let you know about some of that beginning of the year positioning and how people are, or at least the big money is starting to really think. Big money and safe money. Keep that in mind. So watch out for that one, and don't underestimate the power of the defensives. And one thing I brought up too earlier, we want to see, do the names with a big gain from last year, do people keep buying them, or do they kind of take their gains at the beginning of the year and then go from there? But those are the main plays. As far as everything else, I got a couple of ones that I'm looking at, and I'll give you kind of some of the main plays that we're holding into this year. I mean, a lot of them are pretty much the same things as we ended up the year, and if you've been following along, and if you go watch Friday's stream, we gave a little bit of update. We're coming in with this trading account at 167,000. I have yet to transfer the entire Robinhood. We were talking about that, but we started this account, I think it was at like 100,000 at the beginning of last year. It dropped down. I did add 20,000 to open up the futures account, so we ended up pretty decent, but I'm telling you, none of it really matters, because where we end up by this year, that should give us everything. But these are all of the plays that I'm holding, and these are kind of some of the main ones. And one play I wanted to add to the watch list, I added this on Friday. I went long on 50 shares of LMT while I'm holding 50 shares short on Boeing, so keep that in mind. But even like defensives, like pew-pew defensives, not like healthcare defensives, I would keep an eye out for them. But as far as what we're holding, I got my ES play. I'm down $8,000 from Powell. That is about what, December 13th or whatever. We realized the 30,000. I ended up holding this one. Hopefully these minutes, and like I've said, as far as averaging down or playing it, I'm going to use these events to either average down, take my loss, or decide to keep holding and hopefully wiggle my way out of it. But there's that one. There's the Ethereum short still in that. I did an MNQ from that China news last week, a smaller short there. Had some of the long, kind of trapped me a little bit, but I'm holding that one. Down $10,000 on the bond since Powell, and we were up 4,000 after Powell, but the reason was Japan. So this one's just a big position, and actually it's probably the size of like 2 ESs, but I think bonds coming into this year, I mean, maybe I should have made that a little bit more clear on the keys. But like I was saying about that whole trend for 2022, we want to see what happens here, but any sort of pivot, I mean, you're probably going to watch me play the bonds here for a little bit, but I think that Japan situation and those currency moves will probably make it a lot more important. But holding that, then our PRVB, don't forget about him. Remember, February is the date for the catalyst. I've been riding it all the way through since $7.99. We got a little bit of a gain, still holding that one, and then down $6,000 on our Tesla shares. So still got everything else. There's a bunch of the other names. Again, still UNG and Boyle. Tomorrow at 8:30, we are going to be talking about that every other day on stream. I will dedicate a segment to Boyle and UNG for everybody, and we'll go over that. Still have like old Disney and Ubers that have been clobbering me, even like some TSM. So any of the trades we've held from last year that we did not do a tax loss on, we are going to be riding it out. But those are the main plays. That is everything. The futures are going to open up tonight. And watch the yen. I already had it up there. But they're going to be opening up tonight at 6 p.m., I believe, Eastern time. So in a couple minutes here, actually. So watch out for that. We're going to see how we kick it off. But Chad Adonia, I'm honored to bring in the new year with you. I hope you're ready for another one. And if you already made it through 2022, you're ready, baby. But that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure hydrate, healthy, ready to go. Make sure post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. I need you ready to go and understand that you can make your future here in this year, good or bad. No matter what happens, you are being presented opportunities that have not came around in a very, very long time. So 2022 is over. You got to leave that in the past, and I hope you're ready for the future. I hope you got your armor on, and I hope you know you're ready for it, baby. But Chad, I love you. I will see you in the morning to kick off the new year. And have a wonderful day. I will see you. Are you ready? It's like the first day of school. No, but sleep. Make sure you get some sleep. Ah! Okay, I love you hard.